Hello everybody, this is Alyssa from Mank Arts and Crafts, and today I am here for a long overdue WIP chat. So WIP stands for work in progress, and chat just means I'm going to sit here and chat with you guys while I work on my WIP. Sushi, no, get out of the window. No, you can't have it. Get out. So we're going to work on the current WIP, and this WIP is a Sake Dragon by Stanley Morrison, and I've only just gotten started on it, so I have part of the first section done, like the bottom, this much or so of it that you can't see down below. Well, the bottom, like that much that you can't see right down below. That's all I have done on it so far. It is, oh my goodness, what size is it? I should just pull out the thing in my logbook. We will pull out my logbook and see what size it is. So here is the full image so you guys can see what it looks like. It is a square drill canvas. I was ready to do another square. I did a few rounds. This one has 71 colors and it is 69.9 by 88.9, so fairly good size. And we are working on this one. I have it divided up into sections like I always do. So now we can get to work on it. And it's so big that the drills take up a full Elizabeth Ward plus a mini Elizabeth Ward. Like literally perfect fit to fit them into just the two containers. And the drills that I pulled out are ones that fit right here. They're the symbol, but they're like the extras of that symbol. So that's what I'm going to be starting with. And my tools that I am using this tray. It is a narrow Yellow Dog Designs. I was going to say Red Dog. Yellow Dog Designs tray. I like the fact that they put the size so you can know exactly what it is. This one is a narrow. I actually am enjoying the narrowness of it, but then that it's a little bit longer so I can fit more drills in it, and I love the white bottoms for it. And then I am using these two pens. This one right here is from Enabler's Outpost. It is a beautiful pastel-y pen. Look at that. And then I'm working on using this one right here from Swampwood products. So both of them are stunning pens, and that is what I have just swapped out to right now. And then I'm also using I am using still some Winterberries Wee Wax. I need to swap out my Wee Wax. And some White Tahitian Woods Randa's Crafty Corner pipe. So that is what I am using for this. And we're going to roll into it. Let's see. I am onto that symbol. So hopefully everybody has been having a good last few weeks. I feel like it's literally been quite a long time since I've done a WIP and chat. I just haven't had the energy to do them. We're going to turn off the overhead. That one gets rid of that glare. So I just have not felt like the energy or motivation to do a WIP and chat for the last few weeks. Hence no WIP and chats. I really tried, but then I would be like, but that means I have to move things. I have to grab my recording arm, my tripod, move it over. Not that it really takes that much effort to move over here, but I just was not motivated to do it. So I was like, well, rather than doing a WIP and chat and just being blah about the WIP and chat, I was like, I'm just gonna skip it. And I did that for a few weeks. It's like this month has been a little bit odd as far as my motivation for doing some of those things like the WIP and chat and all of that. So I just was like, I'm just gonna hold off and not do it. So I have not done a WIP and chat for ages, but now I am back. We are doing a WIP and chat. So I have actually finished a few diamond paintings so far. This month. I'm actually pleased with it considering how little I got done in March, but March I was also moving. I'm still kind of in the process of settling in and managing all of my chaos and everything. That's a still in progress thing. Drill fell off of my putty. So I've got most rooms done. I just need a few more I need to work on. So still a little bit that I need to do on the organization side of everything. I still have to finish basically, I have to work on the guest bedroom. I haven't really touched that one. And then I have the far corner of my studio in here has a bunch of books that I'm getting rid of sitting on the floor. So I need to deal with those, get them out of here. And then I need to film my year in review, pull all my canvases out for my year in review, which is long overdue. Well, really, it would have been up in at the earliest, would have been March. But I, again, haven't pulled all the canvases out to film it, but I need to do that because the canvases are not, I just got a new binder for them because I had overflowed the binder that I had. So I had to, or the portfolio that I had. So I ended up getting another one so it would be like the second version or the second portfolio for the larger canvases. And then there's a handful that just don't fit into the portfolios. But I was like, I need to actually film that. So when I finish this and get this posted, I think I am going to actually dig out get all the canvases out in the proper order to do my year in review. Because it's, like I said, it's a little overdue for you guys. And this will just be the 2024 canvases. That's all it'll be. So let's see, what have I been up to? I can't remember, what was the last thing that I did? I think I haven't done one since before a WIP and Chat since before I went to Michigan for my exam. So I flew up to Michigan. It was so cold and I was being stubborn and I was like, I am not bringing a coat. Not that I even really have a winter coat anymore, because I haven't lived somewhere cold enough to need a winter coat in years, not since I left Michigan. So I don't even own a winter coat now anymore. So I was like, I'm just gonna I had a sweater and I had a hoodie, and I was like, if it gets cold enough, I can always layer the two, but I am not gonna do a coat. So Sushi, get out of the window. Sush, you're moving my canvas. Get out. She's like on top of the washi tape container, which is behind the easel, because she wants to see out my window. Not that she doesn't have a window on the other side of the room completely open for her to look out of. That's beside the point. She wants this window. And I'm like, you're a little brat child. So, anyways, what have I been up to? So yeah, I flew to Michigan for the exam. Spent the week. I flew up on Monday, and my exam wasn't until the following Monday. But I stayed with one of my classmates, a friend of mine from school. I stayed at her house with another one of our classmates, and so that way we could study together and because a lot of it is hands-on techniques. So we studied together, practiced. I literally was spending 10 plus hours every day studying. It helped that she doesn't have good internet at her house. They're waiting for fiber to get installed, so they have a little hotspot, but a hotspot isn't going to do the same as what I'm used to as high-speed internet. So that kind of prevented me from sitting there and watching all of my shows and everything, my dramas and YouTube videos and all of that, because it was you just didn't really have the access to do that with the hotspot, and I had to just rely on my own internet plan on my phone for a lot of it, which that you get to use enough of the data, and then you end up I have unlimited data, but once I've used 50 gig of data, then it goes to slower speeds, and it's significantly slower speeds. So even being very conservative on what I used, I apparently use a whole bunch of data, but I did end up using pretty much the majority of my 50 gig that I have during that week and a half or so that I was there. I used a lot of it, but I didn't have the same ease of just watching all my shows whenever. So that was something that I basically was well, that gave me a little bit of breaks. That was that last week of March. I was in Michigan, studied for the week. The awesome part is my classmate, my friend Carol, her husband is an amazing cook and does all of the cooking. So he would bake something every day. We would have some kind of fresh baked goods. And then we would also, because there's myself and then another classmate and then Carol, we were at her house. But her husband cooks all of the meals, and then he was doing he baked something new for us every day. One day we had this really fancy, it was cranberry something muffins. It wasn't just a straight cranberry muffin, it was cranberry plus something else muffins. And then we had what are those little French rolls called? Croissants. He made croissants another day. And then on another day, he made cinnamon buns or cinnamon rolls. It was just so many amazingly delicious things that he cooked for us and baked for us. And then the meals as well. So he would make lunch for us. And then he would also do a dinner as well. It was just like, I was so spoiled. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is amazing. And it's all like super healthy food, nothing processed because they're vegetarian. And they don't really eat processed foods. So it was like all vegetarian meals, all like no processed foods in any way, shape, or form. They're super healthy like that. So it was like I ate really well that week. Sorry for the absences. I missed a day on my allergy pills because I ran out, where I thought I ran out, but I had another partial container of them in the cupboard, but I didn't realize I had another partial container. So I had, like, while I was waiting for the new allergy medicine to come in, I didn't have any for a couple days. So it takes me a couple days to catch back up after that with a little sniffiness. But anyways, I studied for a week. After the week, we had the exam. We had the review day on that Sunday, which was when everybody gathered together reviewing with our instructors. And then the exam was on Monday. So I did the exam, which actually went really well. I was very pleased. Passed, most definitely. And then, I need to add more drills. I think I've used up this tiny little container. So now I can add more drills. Passed the exam, and then that night ended up just kind of chilled that evening. And then, because that was Monday night. And then Tuesday, my friend took me and she dropped me off at the airport. So that way I could fly back Tuesday morning. I think my flight was at like 11 on Tuesday. So flew back on Tuesday, and then I had to work on Wednesday. But at least I went back into like a partial week, so I didn't have to work the whole week. It was just Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that I had to work. So I worked, but then I was like still kind of recovering from, spending the last week and a half in like cram study mode. So I was very much still like exhausted. So that was why I didn't get a WIP and Chat done that weekend, because I was just so tired. And then, because I spent the weekend kind of recovering from that previous week's travel and study and all that stuff. And then after that, I'm trying to think. So that was through to like April 2nd, and we're on to like the 15th or whatever. No, we're on to like the 18th or 19th or something to that effect. We're late into April now. But then I was with it enough to actually film my WIP and or my month in review. I filmed my month in review for March and got that done. And then Sushi, would you stop? She's got the canvas is like literally covering her. If you see a wiggling of the canvas moving, it's because the cat is behind the canvas trying to get into everything because she's a little turd. So then I had work, and I had to submit, I did have to submit something that following Monday. So I was focused on, like, I had to submit this letter, and I had to figure out what I was going to write for it and everything, and make sure everything was ready and good to go. So I submitted that. And then, yeah, I've just basically been at work. Oh, we spent the last 2 weeks, we had a reservist with us. And the crazy part, so it was like the reservist that we had, I was like, the last name was her married name. And I didn't realize until like the day before she got there. I was like, oh my gosh, that's who it is. So she was a fellow physical therapist that we had been stationed at our first command together back when she was still active duty. So way back in like 2012 at San Diego. And I was like, no way. So that was super cool getting to catch up with her, because she was there for the 2 weeks as a reservist. So got to catch up with her. And that first Friday that she was there, I had my friend of mine that's up like an hour on a base, an hour north of us. He was coming down to our clinic on that Friday to kind of see everything and to talk with some people and then kind of like hang out. We were going to do lunch together. So it worked out perfectly because the three of us were stationed in San Diego together at the same time and all knew each other. So that was really cool getting to have like the three of us, a little mini reunion catching up like that. And then we had a lunch together with us and then the other active duty that were there, like our OP, and the other PT. We all had lunch together, and then we went and then back to work. And then my friend, my one friend, he went and left and headed back home up where he lives, about an hour north or so. But yeah, it was super cool. And then they got together over the weekend and had dinner. I'm actually going to be going to his house to hang with him and his wife for dinner, probably sometime like before this next weekend or on this coming weekend. Something to that, but we're gonna get together. He keeps hounding me. He's like, "Hey, when are you coming up here to have dinner with us? And or we can come down there to you." And then I'm like, I keep having doing things on the weekends. Sushi, stop. So like that weekend, my parents were there, so it's like I couldn't because my parents were there, and then the following weekend, which was this past weekend, this weekend that's existing right now, I was like, I'm gonna be so tired from my trip that I had, and I'll tell you about the trip in a minute. I'm gonna be so tired from my trip that I'm gonna have like no motivation to want to drive up there to have dinner with them, even though they're like really good friends of mine. Like both his wife and him are good friends of mine. Like I was one of the absolute first people that they told when they were expecting their first kid. That's how close they are. They're super awesome and I love them. But I was like, I can't even begin to want to like figure out traveling and all that when I'm tired. So I was like, well, we'll just do it next weekend. So we're planning to get together next weekend. And then, and his kids have gotten so much bigger. Oh my goodness. So this week, so I only had to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this past week. And then I ended up, I had Thursday and Friday off because one of my absolute favorite bands of all time, and they're called CN Blue. They're a Korean band. They're in the middle of their world tour right now. And they're a much smaller band. There's only 3 members. But what's kind of cool and not like most K-pop bands is they actually play their own instruments. So it's kind of like what you think of when you think of the traditional band, not like the stereotypical boy band of like everybody else, like all the other Korean bands that I follow are more of like that boy band style where, you know, they don't play any of their instruments. They just sing and dance. And that's like the concert or the show. Well, CN Blue, they do their own, they do their own instruments. So guitar, bass, and drums, because there's 3 members in the band now. And that's what they do. They just do their music that way. And I've been following them since they first debuted in Korea in like 2010. I've been following them. They debuted in 2009 in Japan. But I've really been following them since their Korean debut in 2010 timeframe. And they're like, I love them, love their music, everything else. So I was super excited when I found out they were doing their world tour. And I was like, see, of all the times to leave the West Coast, if I was still in the West Coast, it would have been easy because they had one of their concerts in Los Angeles. So in the States, they were doing Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York City. Those were the 3 cities they were hitting in the States. And I was like, darn it, now I have to travel. Like, if this had been, like, why couldn't all of these bands that I love have been coming to LA while I was still, you know, only a couple hours away? Because then it's easy, because then you just drive down and go to the concert and drive back, because it's only like 2.5 hours. But so I was like, all right, do I want to fly to the LA concert? Because I don't mind going to LA. Or do I want to fly to the New York City concert? And I was like, you know what, just do the New York City one. It's so much closer. Same time zone, only takes a few hours of flight time to get there. So I got my tickets, and then I was like, okay, do I go up? I had originally was like, well, I'll go up Thursday, have the concert on Friday, fly back on Saturday. And then as it got closer and closer to time, and I was looking at my ticket, because I hadn't bought my plane tickets yet, I was like, you know what, why don't I just fly up? Because I'm literally going up for the concert. I have no desire to explore New York City right now, because like I'm going to be so people overwhelmed just from the concert. And I still don't do well with huge crowds of people. So I'm like, I'm going to be so overwhelmed with that. I'm not going to want to really explore New York City at all. So I was like, okay. So I literally flew up, I flew up on Friday, got there at like 1:30 or so. I literally just hung out in the airport for a little bit longer and then left the airport at like 4:30 to head to the concert hall and then where they were doing the concert. And I had early admission, so I could get in at 5:30 and be there and in for the sound check. So I stood in line. I got there at 5, got in line, stood there until, they finally started letting us in a little after 5:30, got inside, piled into the masses of humanity for waiting for the actual sound check to start, which the sound check was at 6. And it was like a standing only concert. So because of like the place that they were at, it wasn't any seats. It was just standing only. So the whole thing was kind of like a pit area. But they did the sound check at 6 o'clock. And then after the sound check, they went ahead and we had to wait like another hour or hour and a half, something like that, for the actual concert to start. Because the sound check was like from 6 to 6:30. And then regular doors opened for everybody else at 7. And then the concert started at 8. So by then, we're getting like smashed with all the people and it's like so crammed. I've been standing there since I have been standing at that point since 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, somewhere around in there. And I'm like, my back is killing me. My feet are killing me, even though I planned ahead and wore comfy shoes. But when you're standing for that long and you don't have a chance to like move around really, because we were cramped so tight together, you couldn't even like sit down to get a break. You couldn't even like bend over, nothing, because we were so smashed together. So finally I was like, okay, I'm going to, and then the concert started and you don't think about it as much because it was the concert. And then the concert ran until 10:30. So it was 2.5 hours of, standing there, jumping around, all of that stuff for the concert. And then we could finally leave. And those of us that were in the early group or the VIP group got like a free poster and a photo card that was, labeled for the concert in New York City at the Knockdown Center. So got that, had to wait in line for that as I was getting ready to leave. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to get like an Uber right here because it's so crammed and there's so many people and it's so busy. So I walked like a block or two away to catch my Uber. I could have taken like public transit back, but I was like, the thought of then having to be crammed into public transit in like a city that I don't know at like 11 o'clock at night, I was like, I'm just going to spend the money and take an Uber back, even though it's like the pricey Uber. I was like, I will just do that and take the Uber back to the airport. Because I was like, I could get a hotel, but I would have to like get an Uber to the hotel. All the hotels near, like between where I was and the airport were like, the cheapest one was like $260 a night. Because of course it's a Friday night, so prices are more expensive. And I'm like, I don't want to spend that much money for a hotel that I'm literally going to be at just for a few hours. Because I would have to leave at like, I would leave at like 5 o'clock to head to the airport just because I like to be early. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to spend that much money just to sleep because by the time I would get there and get checked in, it would be midnight. And I was like, I'm not going to spend that much money to sleep somewhere for like 4.5 hours. There's no way. Not about to do that. I'm that person that will spend as little as possible on a hotel. So I was like, well, why don't I just do the concert and then after the concert go back to the airport and just, chill at the airport because I can watch shows and everything for a couple hours. And then once I go through a TSA, then I can go find somewhere and, find a comfy chair and sit down in the comfy chair because they didn't have any comfy chairs before security. So that's what I did. Went back to the airport, went through security at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I only really had to occupy myself for 3 hours from like midnight to 3 is all I had to do to keep myself occupied. And then after that, I went back through security, found an outlet, charged my watch, charged my phone, charged my ring because they were all dying on me at that point. Charged my stuff, and then chilled for a little bit, and then got something around like 4 or so. It was when some of the stores started opening up, and that's when I was able to get myself something to drink and like breakfast. So I got stuff, and then from there went to my gate and just kind of chilled at my gate and kind of did like that whole, sleep off and on, that doze off and on that you do when you're waiting for an early flight. Did that until, got on the plane, and then I was able to get comfy in my seat, and I was trying to just like watch my show a little bit, my latest, whatever drama I was on at the time, because I binge watched them. I was like, oh, I tried to watch for a little bit, but then I was just getting so tired. So I was like, I just called it and just like turned off my phone and closed my eyes and napped a little bit while I was on the plane. And then switched plane. Then I had a layover in Charlotte. And in Charlotte, I was able to found some food, ate some food, and then proceeded to chill and get to my new gate and wait for the next flight. So that's what I did when I was in Charlotte. Because that flight, it was only a couple hours. And that one left at like 11 and headed to back here. So I was back in Florida by like 1:15, somewhere around in there. And then by the time you walk out of the airport and get to my car, and then from my car, get out of the airport and drive home, it was like 2:00 when I got home, and I was just so tired. So I was like texting my mom, was like, I'm home. Fed the girls some more food because they had cleaned out one of their food dishes, not the second, just their one food dish. Because I'm like, just for, like that day and a half, I'm not going to worry about somebody watching the girls. I'll just go and they'll be fine. So that's what I did. They ate the food in one of the dishes, but there was still food in the others. They were still good. And then I was like, so I fed them, paid attention to them for a little bit. And then I was like, I am so tired. So I went and climbed in bed and basically slept for like, let's see, that was 2. I woke up at like 7:30, got something to eat at like 7:30. And then cause I had plans, that night to go ahead and do like the filming of this video last night. So that way you guys could have it first thing today. But that did not work because I underestimated, I'm not as young as I used to be. So it used to be that I could do an all-nighter like that at the airport. It'd be 100% fine and functional the next day. Yeah, that doesn't happen. That's not how, it's not like that anymore. Now I was like, my body is like, okay, you need to go lay down and sleep because you are exhausted. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to go lay down and sleep. So I laid down, napped, basically, woke up at like 7:30, got dinner. And then I was like, okay, I need to go, do, my videos. But then I was like, I'm so tired still. So I ended up like going after I ate dinner, like maybe an hour and a half later, I called it and just went to bed. And I was planning on waking back up. I was just going to lay there for a little bit. Next thing I know, I wake up and it's like 5:00 in the morning. So I apparently really needed my sleep. Hence the reason that this is getting up so late, because I woke up at 5:00 instead of filming this last night. So now I'm filming it and then of course when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I don't want to like go right into filming or doing anything. I just wanted to be lazy this morning. So that's why I'm filming this at like 11 or so my time. So you guys will get it. Once I'm done, I will post it. I do have, there are a couple, I know everybody's always probably wondering, where are my prizes that I won? I promise you, I am working on them. I was planning on having everything all shipped out before I left on my trips, but I realized like the first time I was going to I started packing everything up and realized I don't have any envelopes for any of these things or anything to mail any of these things in. So I had to order those. And those were delayed, and literally like the ones that I picked were supposed to be here like 2-day delivery. But of course that didn't happen because, Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So the envelopes that I ordered, back before I was in, like right around the time that I left for Michigan, those envelopes finally showed up. They were there when I got home yesterday. So when they finally showed up. So I haven't been able to pack anything because I'm like, I don't want to buy envelopes or the mailers twice for all this stuff. That would just be silly. So I ended up just saying, okay, fine, I'll wait. And I was going to say that in like a WIP Chat that you'd get them soon once I got my mailers in. But then of course I haven't filmed a WIP Chat. So I apologize for everybody's delayed gifts. And then there's a couple of them where I'm like, oh, I think I need to reach back out to the person because I think she was supposed to send them to me so I can mail them to everybody. But I think she thought that I would be giving her the addresses and then she would mail them. So so there's, I think, 3 gifts that are going to be a little bit delayed because I'm still waiting on them from the maker of them. So there's that. And then, So once those ones are ready, then I'll get those shipped out. The grand prize winners, those grand prize winners have already had their order placed for the Enablers Outpost canvas, and order done and shipped for the Jaded Gem Shop one, because that was a canvas that she actually already had in stock. Let's have them right up into it. So grand prize winners should be able to get their stuff soon. It's just all the rest of us peons, all the rest of everybody else that I'm working on now that I actually have mailers and can actually get stuff that sent out. So yeah, I apologize for all of that. It's just been a very hectic last month. What with moving into the house and starting to get settled in, and then having like 2 trips that I had 2 trips in this time period as well. So that's just kind of delayed things a little bit. Sushi, get out from behind my canvas. She's chilling, and there's like a little cat lump touching my canvas because she's behind it. Hey, pause away. I did kit up a sake dragon, you guys. Is this not? It is going to be the coolest canvas. I'm actually, I had to do a couple rounds because I was so over squares from the See the Light canvas, which turned out beautifully, but oh my goodness, these squares. And I am not a fan of the new tight grid that they have on the Diamond Art Club canvases. It is just not enjoyable for me to work on these kits. Not super enjoyable to do these big, these squares. So that was something that I had to wait, or basically I had to finish that, and I had to have the motivation to finish that, which I did. So that's my first finish of April. And then I also finished my Night of the Frost Dragon Stitch Along with Flossy Fox Shop. Finished that one because this was the last month that she put out on the last section for it. So I got that done this month as well. And then I did a, and then I did Chrysabug's Virgo for the Chrysabug along with Stealthy. So I did that, and that kit was around, and the colors, it's been in my rainy day stash, but I was like, you know, I really want to do this one now because it's my oldest Chrysabug that I had, and I'm trying to go through, and granted this one is the exception, but what I'm trying to do is I want to go through and do all of my older kits and get those knocked out before moving into a lot of like the newer stuff. So I want to really try to do that. Not that I have anything that's like super old, because I've only been doing this for 2 years. I've like pretty much, I literally have hit my 2 years. April was my 2-year mark of when I started diamond painting. And I just got my like anniversary email this last week. I got my anniversary email from Diamond Art Club. So I was like, I really need to work on it. Let me go ahead and move this up so you guys can see that last little bit to the top of the canvas. It's not much, just that last little bit there. But yeah, I've officially hit the 2-year mark, which is so crazy to me. I've been doing this for 2 years, and then May will be my 2-year anniversary on YouTube. And I will do more of like my haul videos for you guys like I did last year. I'll do an updated haul video for everything for like the series of everything that I've done. I'll do that in May. So you'll get like my putty hoard, you'll get my diamond painting hoard, you'll get my trays, which have been downsized actually. Well, sort of downsized. They've been downsized as to what I have in my active hoard, and then I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to actually destash. It's in boxes waiting to be destashed. But that's kind of what the plan will be for May. But for April, it's just kind of chill. Finish sending you guys' prizes out, which will happen in this coming week. They will all be mailed out for sure. And then once I get everything, and then it's just kind of chill and just do diamond paint what I want to diamond paint. So I did the Chrysabug already, and then I think I did a little snacky one, a little Orloa round snack, because I just wanted something easy and simple to do. So I did an Orloa snack, and then I've also, and then I have this one that I'm working on, and then I kit up another little Diamond Art Club mini canvas. I think it was the I think it's the Tiny Luna, because I want to finish that series. But I've been working on this one, and then once I finish that one, that other little round, so when I need a break from doing the squares, I'll switch over and work on that one. And when I need a break from doing the squares, I will switch to a round, and then just kind of keep working on the rounds. This one, I did decide, instead of kitting up an older square, I decided to do this square just because I've been wanting to work on it. And I was supposed to do this one for Mackenzie's event, this Tokyo Dragonfire event, but I was lazy and did not. So now I am working on this because it was one that I wanted to do in March and did not get done in March. So I really want to focus, and since I only started it mid-April, we'll see how long it takes me, but I don't want it to take me as long as See the Light did, which really only took me like exactly a month basically to do, but I don't want it to take, because I started it in the middle of the month and finished it at the beginning of this month, but I don't want it to take that long, or was it 2 months that one took me? I'd have to look back through and see. But this one is going a little bit quicker. I made the sections a little bit narrower than I normally do. So it's like, I think equivalent size-wise, because this is a taller canvas. I think the sizes are the same size as the other one. I don't know, it just feels like this one is going quicker for some reason. And the other one was a lot of color blocking, which I love color blocking. This one, as you can see, is not color blocky. It's a lot of like that place, but with gaps. Because all of this that you see here is one color. That's going to be one color for me to place. So it's just a matter of, you know, filling it in, doing all the stuff. But at the very least, so now we're on to symbol C, which is another like dark greenish gray type. No, this one's a gray. So we're on to another greenish gray. So this whole background, I haven't even had a chance to really look at it with the lights off because I only had a little bit done on it. So once I finish today's WIP Chat, we'll turn off the lights and see what all I've gotten done, and see what it looks like. But this is also one of the things that I find annoying, is having to place like this, where you have all of the back and forth of all your colors, and it's not just big, large swaths of one color. So this is something that I find annoying to do. But I'm excited to see the dragon come together. That's what I'm really excited for. Where See the Light was fun to do, but it was like the little lanterns were the fun part. Everything else is kind of boring on that one, just because I love color blocking, but when it was like, basically you have to really like color blocking to do See the Light, because it was like entirely, like the background was I think 2, maybe 3 colors. So that was one that you have to really like color blocking for. This one, you can be somebody who doesn't care for color blocking and enjoy this canvas, or you can be somebody that like color blocking and still get enjoyment, because you have, you're not doing a big swath of color blocking, but I am working with one color for a large area. Like all of this shade right here that's empty that I'm working on to fill in is this color that's in my tray right now. So it's one of those things where, you know, you kind of get to work with that color for a prolonged period of time. Unlike some of the other, like the traditional confetti canvases. So this is kind of like that in between where it's not really color blocking, but not really confetti per se. It's just a lot of like that, almost like checkerboarding, but not quite. That is the bane of my existence, is checkerboarding. I cannot stand checkerboarding. So this one's a little bit more enjoyable than that, than checkerboarding, because it's not pure confetti per se, but it's still something that's going to take, you know, take a minute to go through and fill in all of these little colors for all of these ones. And usually that's when I find myself switching my pen a lot, when I'm doing something like this, because I find myself saying, okay, my hand needs a little bit of a break from, you know, this section, and pressing into these little areas and squares are always so much more tedious for me. So I'll be switching back and forth between pens. But I'm trying to think of what else. That's basically been like the personal life of everything. And then, doing this, this is the first of the treasure, the scavenger hunt canvases. So I decided that was one of the things that I wanted to do, was try to finish all of the scavenger hunt canvases this year. So this is the first one that I'm working on, and I figured I'd start with some of these square canvases. So I'm starting with this one, and then we'll see if I decide to work on another one of the squares, or if I want to switch it up and work on one of the round ones instead. We'll see how I feel when I finish with this one. If I feel up to kind of kitting up another big square and do that, like always kind of have one big square canvas kitted up, that's what I may do, and then, you know, work on a bunch of rounds for fun in between. That's what I'm leaning towards doing, so we will see. I've also gone through and pulled a bunch of canvases out of my hoard for de-stash purposes. So I've done that. I've pulled a bunch out, and I just need to actually like take the photos and list them and then get rid of them. So that way they are no longer cluttering up my other closet. I don't have them as part of my hoard. They're in the on hold section. So I also have to, like, what I want to do is go through and Katie challenged a bunch of us on the Discord to do our rainy day stashes. So I need to go through and say, okay, this is what's actually in my rainy day hoard. I don't know that I'm going to actually pull them out for you guys, because that would be so much work to pull out all of those canvases. Because I have a lot in my rainy day hoard. Like, literally every Yume is a rainy day canvas. So that would be a lot of kits, because I have like, what, 40 something Yume's at least. So that would be a lot to pull all of those out, let alone the rest of them. Like, I've done 2 Yume's. I've done both versions of Flower Delivery. I've finished those, and those are the only Yume's that I have actually worked on. Just because I love them so much, I don't want to do them, because then they'll be done and I won't be able to work on them anymore. So that's kind of like what makes a rainy day canvas for me. So that's something that's going to be coming soon for you guys. But first, before I can do that, I want to film my year in review, which is just going to be 2024 canvases. I'm not going to include anything from 2025. Not that I've really finished that much so far this year. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as far as what I want to do for that. I've been trying to do more of like the low buy, but and only be strict with myself on that. It hasn't really happened. I am being a little bit pickier on what I actually purchase, and then some of them will go on my wish list. But I think my Diamond Art Club wish list is the largest it's ever been. I think I have like 20 items, well, 18 or something, almost 20 items on my Diamond Art Club wish list, which is the largest it has been. If you compare it to my wish list with Jaded Gem Shop, I've got like 100 canvases on my Jaded Gem Shop wish list. And that's mainly because there's a lot of canvases at Diamond Art Club that I'm like, okay, I like that canvas and I want it, but it's a big square and I don't want it enough to do it in large squares. So I say that about a lot of the canvases that Diamond Art Club comes out with. Now, if they come out with it in round, absolutely, I buy it. But when they put out a lot of these different canvases I see, I have to absolutely, like, cannot function without it in order to buy it as a square anymore, because I've just gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to stick with the rounds unless it's a canvas that I feel like I cannot live without and it's in squares, then I will buy it as a square. But otherwise, I am all about trying to stick to rounds if at all possible. I avoid getting AI art or things that are done with AI, but Color Out of Place is an artist that his artwork, those images that he does are just so beautiful and so like colorful, and I love them. So even though they're AI, I've been like so close. I've got 2 of them from the 2 of his canvases on my wish list, and both of them just came back into stock in like the last week or 2. But I have not pressed the purchase button on either of them because they are both decently large square canvases. If they had been rounds, they would have already been purchased. But they came out with a round version of one of his super colorful landscapes this past, yesterday, this weekend. So I did actually snag that one because I was like, okay, that is perfect because it's one of his canvases that I've been wanting. I really like the image. It's the rainbow tornado, and it's in rounds, which made it even better. So I did purchase that one. So I have that one coming because I was like, I decided that one was like, okay, gotta have that one. But normally I do not, on principle, do not buy AI artwork. I try to stick to non-AI images. Like, I think I have a couple of the Eau Claire Studios from before we really knew much about Eau Claire Studios. So I have a couple from them, and I think I'm going to be destashing some of them because I'm like, I'm trying not to support AI like that. Not at least unless you're like, if there's different ways of using AI, and I've talked about this before. And the way that I have like a more lenient feeling about it is like if you put in your prompts and everything to get an idea of an image to start with, and it spits something out, and then you look at that as like a reference or as an idea, and then you build off of that. You don't paint that or edit that. You create your own with that as kind of like a reference image. That's the way that I don't mind AI, where you're using it for ideas. But it's when you take that image that gets spit out and then you do a little tweaking to that image and then that's your new image. That's the kind of AI work that I'm like, I try not to support. So that's something that that's just me and my own personal thought process when it comes to it. Everybody is welcome to their own opinion on it, and that is my opinion. Mostly because I am an artist, so it's like I see some places like Dreamer Designs is all about the AI artwork right now, and they'll put out images where you're looking at it and you're like, okay, did they even have that edited before they posted that image? They still have some traditional artists, but I feel like now the majority of what you see from Dreamer Designs is like AI artwork. And I feel like the majority of it that gets put out is you look at it and you're like, they didn't even bother editing. The artist for this or whoever it was didn't bother even really editing that image. They just kind of took the AI image that was spit out and posted it. And that's something that I really, really don't approve of. And again, those are my own opinions. But that's kind of my thought process when it comes to AI like that. I'm like, okay, now if you're going to actually use it as a reference and then build from there, that's a little bit different. But just using what's spit out, editing it slightly, that's not art to me. That's the computer creating an image. And I feel like all of the AI images have a feeling to them. They all have the same like feel or tone to them. And I know AI is getting even more prevalent now, but I'm going to continue to choose to support traditional artists, like real artists. You can be a digital artist. That's 100% fine. Yume herself, she's a digital artist, but I'm trying to avoid the AI artists. One of the things that, I was super excited this week for the Easter canvases, the special release that they did for Easter. They released the first Sybil art. Oh my goodness, and that kit was so cute. So of course I had to buy that. I'm really hoping that that means that they're going to start doing more and more of Sybil's work now that they've released one. We've been seeing it in voting for ages, and I'm like, I really want some of her beautiful like geishas that she has. Oh my goodness, those are so stunning. I'm really hoping that those have made it through voting because she's got so many amazing ones. And I really love them all. She's another one of my top artists. So any Sybil art that comes out, I will be purchasing because I love her work. And then of course I purchase like every Mrs. Butter D that comes out. I end up purchasing all of them because I love them all. I think there's one that she came out with early on that was like discontinued. It was like a witch with like a big background that was kind of like the draw this in your own style of what a lot of artists have done the witches like that. And that one I was like, meh, not really a fan of that one. So that one I did not purchase, but I think I've purchased pretty much the rest of the Mrs. Butter D ones after that because I do enjoy her artwork. Haven't worked on any of them at all because again, those are all in my rainy day stash. They're in the hoard for the rainy day. But yeah, I need to go through and figure out what other ones I would classify as my rainy day hoard. But I'm trying to slowly go through and work on the older kits and get some of those done and knocked out because I'm like, those ones have been sitting for a while. And I have a lot of like little ones from some of the smaller ones from earlier on, like the Amazon ones, and some other small canvases from Diamond Art Club and that I want to work on. And then I have, big canvases from other shops as well. And a bunch of like my first batch of like Jaded Gem Shop kits. So I've got a bunch of kits that I want to work on that are older. And I'm just going to start going through and be like, okay, work on the ones from like that first month. Because I went a little hog wild crazy my first month or two of diamond painting. And I bought like so many canvases just in April of 2023. So many canvases. So I need to like go through and start actually working on all of those kits that I purchased in that first mad buying frenzy where, I dived 100% full force into the hobby and just went a little hog wild crazy on my purchasing because that's how I am when I dive into something new hobby-wise. So I need to start working on some of those canvases that have been sitting there. And then there's some canvases that I'm like, I really like them. I really like the artwork, but I don't necessarily see myself diamond painting it. So I've been trying to go through and kind of find those and pull them out of my hoard so I can destash them. I've just got to actually get my button gear and do the destash, because that'll be good to kind of free those up. So yeah. And then what else? I think that's like the bulk of it. I'm working on this one. I think I need to do, I think I am going to start on the Witchy Stitcher massive tarot card collective. I have the big massive one that I'm going to do all of them together on the one canvas as a one big massive canvas, as a cross stitch conversion. That's what the word I was looking for. So I need to pull out the canvas and the drills, start kitting that up, because you know, I've had that since I think November, and I want to get started on it so I can at least finish. I think when I got it, when I ordered it, I think it was the first 8 cards that she had out. She had 8 cards released, so I will finish those first 8, and then I'll put in a drill order for more drills, because I'll need the more drills for like the next cards. But that's something that I really want to get myself on top of, is those, and working on that and making progress on that. I think that'll be my project for this year, as opposed to doing another like temperature conversion, because I just did that last year, so I don't want to do that this year. So I think I'll do that as my big cross stitch project. But I do want to work on some of my small cross stitches, the little projects that I have so many of, because again, I went a little hog wild on buying patterns. But again, I want to I want to finish some of what I have in my hoard, and ideally get my hoard down a little bit to a happier number before I do anything like that, which means I need to stop buying new releases so that my numbers can climb downward, which has not been happening. So, but that's kind of my thing. And I also want to finish a lot of like the paint gems that I have lying around, and the mini dazzles that I have, because those really don't take that long to do. I just need to buckle down and work on all of those minis and knock out that, because that will make the number on my gems flowed look smaller, because I don't count those as part of my hoard, even though in gems flow they are. So I'd like to be able to look at gems flow and have it reflect my accurate hoard number, which means working on all of those mini kits and getting them out of the collective of my gems flow. So anyways, that's kind of my plans, what I've been up to. Hopefully you guys have been having a wonderful last few weeks. The girls are, you know, being their typical clammy, happy clam self. Sushi's laying behind my canvas on the shelf, she's on top of the washi tape organizer that I have behind the back corner next to my easels. She's laying on top of that, which is behind my canvas, because my canvas is draped over it right now. So she's laying there. She's being a good girl. Mochi is laying over in the chair in the studio, because that's what she likes to do, is lay in the chair while I diamond paint now. So she's being a happy girl. She actually I take her on Monday morning, this Monday morning, tomorrow. I take her to the vet in the morning and drop her off. So I have to just take food and water away tonight at 10 p.m. But she's getting her teeth cleaned and a couple teeth removed tomorrow, because she had a pretty inflamed tooth recently. So she goes in for the tooth extraction, where they knock her out, and then they're going to clean her teeth, see what teeth need to be removed, and she's having that done tomorrow. She'll have her procedure. So I have to, so she doesn't know that she's going yet. She thinks she's just a happy little clam, but yeah, she's not going to be happy with me tomorrow, because, you know, she's going to the vet and getting her teeth done. So I'll drop her off at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. So that's what I have to do. And then I get my hair trimmed on Tuesday. I'll pick her up after work on Monday. And then on Tuesday after work, I get my hair cut. I get a trim, trying to keep it so it's under control and not excessively out of control. Like, I usually wait until it's like I'm dying before I get it cut. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to actually schedule my haircut in between times. So I have that done coming up. But oh my goodness, let me just rave. I know I mentioned that I went to the concert. Oh my goodness, that concert was absolutely amazing. They did incredible. I'm so glad I went, and it was well worth the fact that I like literally flew to New York City for the concert. It was so 100% worth it. Absolutely worth it. And I'm so glad that I went because, you know, this is a band that I've been following for 15 years. So the fact that I could actually see them live, in concert live, oh my goodness, that was amazing. And I was fairly close. I think I was like 25 feet away from the stage, something like that. It wasn't very far. So I had it like really, you're able to actually see everything because of how, you know, you were that close. But yes, I had an absolute blast. So glad that I went, despite the sleep deprivation that I dealt with after the fact and everything. So glad that I went. But yeah, that's basically what I have for you guys for today. Let me go ahead and turn off this light so you guys can see how much progress we've done. I've done quite a bit in here with the background, and I'm almost done with this color. Just this little bit of area left on that color. But let's see what progress we've made on Sake Dragon. So we're working on the background, so you can see, there we go. That's how far down I already had done. I had it done to like there. But now we're working on all of those like smoky shades of color that you see all along that area. And I'm down into this one little bit of an area right there. That's all I have left of that color. And then I can start going into some of the other shades, which will be shading away from the really dark background into like the skinish tan skin tones almost, I think, that are going to be right in here. And then I'll get a little touch of the dragon. A little tidbit of dragon, like right up top, and then like right in there. The next section will be a lot more dragons. That's going to be fun. I won't have as much of this to do. I'll be able to do the dragon itself in the next section. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, that is all I have for you guys for today. So I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.